Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a that will enslave you. That teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find the leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me, I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like...
Peace, family. What's going on? This is your brother King Cam, and welcome back to Shifting the Culture podcast. Tonight, we have a excellent show tonight that we're going to be discussing a couple of things. So, first and foremost, I want to shout out all of the supporters. I want to shout out the Facebook family, the YouTube family, the Twitter family, and always the Instagram family. If you're tuning in from Facebook, I need you to like and I need you to share. Like and share. If you're tuning in from YouTube, I need you to subscribe. Hit that bell so you can stay notified each and every time that we drop a video, as well as like and comment. And then shout out to the Twitter family for the retweets. And then Instagram know that we show love when we repost the clips. Shout out to everybody who's checking in from all over the country. We have Detroit in the building. We have North Carolina in the building. We have people tuning in to Shifting the Culture podcast from all over the country. And I just want to say to you that we love you. We appreciate the support. Shout out to Philly as well. And those who check in, Ohio, from all over the country. All right. So tonight we're going to be discussing Charleston White and the viral clip on Cam Newton's podcast. We're going to be discussing Charleston White and the viral clip from Cam Newton's podcast. It's all over the internet. People have been saying that Charleston White was making points, speaking facts, needed to be said. I even posted a video on my Instagram of that same clip where Charleston White was speaking, and he was making some valid points. Nobody who has studied the condition of our people, nobody who has been in any type of leadership role, worked in our community, could deny the things that Charleston White was saying. So this isn't to disagree with Charleston White. So we're going to just simply dig into more of what Charleston White was saying, because what he said is not something that's new and that has been said before. What I want to do, though, is I want to gauge the level of enthusiasm that we have to actually make a change, because that's what it boils down to, making a change. Because people have said what Charleston White said before him. People have been saying it along with Charleston White. But as the people, as the community, as the neighborhood, are we going to be impacted enough so that we can make a change? So we're just going to dive into a little bit more of what Brother Charleston White was talking about. You know, we want to go ahead and shout out our brother Golden Child as well, because, you know, we support his music here on Shifting the Culture podcast, and I always like to drop that video of his track called Rebellious. It's one of my favorite tracks out, one of my favorite records, because of the content that Golden Child has. I think that's something that's just important for the movement today. You know, the music that he put out is just important for the movement today and for the young people today. So, you know, we want to go ahead and check that out. And then after that, we're going to jump into our brother Charleston White and, you know, his latest interview with Cam Newton. So yeah, so let's check that out, and then man, we'll get right into it. Let me get it pulled up right here. Let me get it pulled up. All right, boom. Here we go, family.
I'm here to enlighten you.
Hallelujah. When you see me, say hallelujah.
Hold on.
I'm clapping.
Hold on. I gotta do this right quick, so it don't mess up my man visuals. Boom. All right. Let me. Let's go.
You fight to survive.
Look! This is the eye of the trenches!
Let's go.
There can never really be justice on stolen land. Are you really for peace and equality? Or when my car is hooked up, no, you want to follow me. Your laws are minimal, because you won't even think about looking at the real criminal.
You know. Yes, sir. The victory belongs to the righteous. Our power is in our unity. Yeah. Look, when you see me coming, know it's serious. Am I really like that? Ask the trenches if you curious. I still laugh and know how to have a good time. Just gotta ask God to forgive us for how we get when we furious. Masculine, he, him, his.
Yeah, I'm on that.
Try to cancel me, you might get canceled.
You should know that.
I can't let them castrate me. No, sir, they won't pay me for my manhood. Keep it, we don't want that. U.S. soldiers come home and the people thank them for their service. If they knew how many lives we saved, they thank us for our service. Save some people's lives that might not ever know we saved them. Long as Allah pleased with how we out here working, then it's always worth it. Look, please don't get us confused. Yeah, we pushing peace, but we get busy, we get violent too. Got some brothers with the movement, but they ain't got all they screws. We just found the truth and we with Allah. Come against us and you bound to lose. Can't say I ain't warn you, can't say I ain't tell you. Come through with them ones, with them members called us failures. Grew up in the trenches, but it turned us into warriors. Mama, I was born to buck the system, I'm rebellious for sure. Look, they ask me, is this real or is this for the cameras? A lot of brothers say they fire people, but really be scammers. If all the work I put in was on camera, you would have that answer. What I look like doing this for clout, look, I got higher standards. I don't need 100 soldiers with me, I got God with me. Still pull up deep to show the brothers unified with me. Know some brothers ready for whatever that's gonna ride with me. Got some real dedicated members on this side with me. Youngin' out his mind, off a pill, he think he's Superman. Off a pill, he get way out his body, think he's Super Saiyan. He just trying to escape the pain for real, escape reality. Streets depressing, you can lose your mind and you can lose your head. Promise we been getting the trench together though, for sure that, They trying to tell us what to do, respectfully, we know that, Lot of commentary from them people on the sidelines. All that stuff they like to talk about, we really on that. So look, please don't get us confused. Yeah, we pushing peace, but we get busy, we get violent too. Got some brothers with the movement, but they ain't got all they screws. We just found the truth and we with Allah. Come against us and you bound to lose. Can't say I ain't warn you, can't say I ain't tell you. Come through with them ones, with the members called us failures. Grew up in the trenches, but it turned us into warriors. Mama, I was born to buck the system, I'm rebellious for sure.
Mama, I was born to buck the system, I'm rebellious for sure. Mama, I was born to buck the system, I'm rebellious for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, man, shout out to Golden Child, man. That rebellious record. One of them joints. You know, you can go ahead and grab that wherever you stream your music from. Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever. You can go ahead and grab that. All right. But before we get into this Charleston White, before we break that down, I got an issue with some sports issues. I got an issue with the fact that we just watched the conference championship weekend from Friday and Saturday, where they played for the conference championships, and the undefeated ACC champion, Florida State, was dubbed out of the 14 college football playoff. I got a problem with that. So I want to read just some stats here, because the justification behind why FSU was not put into the college football playoff is kind of ridiculous. You know, they try to make a case that the ACC is not a Power 5 when it is. Since 1990, the ACC has won a national championship 7 times. 91 Miami, 93 Florida State, 99 Florida State, Miami in 2001, Florida State in 2013, and Clemson twice in 2016 and 2018. So you got 7 national championship titles coming out of the ACC since 1990. You have, plenty of ACC championship teams that include, Virginia Tech, Louisville. They play in big bowl games. So, and also, too, I want to read this as well. It says that the 11 ACC bowl eligible teams match a conference high from 2018. This is the 23rd consecutive season in which the ACC earned at least 6 bowl bids, not including the pandemic-affected 2020 season. The ACC sent at least 9 teams to a bowl every year since 2016. Since 2013, the ACC is second among all conferences with 111 postseason appearances, counting the 11 this year. So the ACC is strong, basically. That's what I'm saying. The ACC is a strong conference. They produce national champions. So to say that the conference is weak is not an argument. Okay. Now, more specifically, they want to say that the fact that FSU is starting a true freshman, third-string quarterback, they didn't want to put FSU in a title game against the other 3 because they would get blown off the field. It'd be bad for ratings. It'll be a repeat of TCU versus Georgia. That's not the point. The point is that TCU earned the right to be there by beating Michigan and playing Georgia. Them getting blown off the field by Georgia had nothing to do with the fact that they earned their spot. Florida State, as an undefeated conference champion, earned their spot. Alabama lost. They got a loss on their record. They lost early in the season to Texas. Texas came to Tuscaloosa and beat them. They got a loss on their record. Yeah, they beat the number 1 team in the country in Georgia. They won the championship, the Southeastern Conference Championship, SEC champions. They did do that. They did. But they have a loss. See, the old college football said no losses. 1 loss was do you bad. So you really had to be undefeated, and then some undefeated teams, because it was a BCS computerized system at the time, was not getting picked. So now we have the playoff, and the playoff is supposed to say that the teams that are the best teams should be in the playoff. And I don't understand how you have an undefeated conference champion, even if they own their third-string quarterback, even if they didn't perform well in the conference championship game, they won. Why are they not represented and have the opportunity to play for a national championship? I don't understand. And it's a playoff, so if they go against Michigan, I think they would have had to play Michigan if they had made it, or Texas, I think. They would have had to pay Texas if they made it. If they lose to Texas, then at least they had their shot. But we'll never know because they never even got a chance. So that's just my spill. And I put up an article on it too, but I don't want to take up too much time on Florida State. But I just wanted to say, we got to do better. Putting Alabama in there showed you that it's a lot of politics, because there's no way any other team with a loss would not have made it. The only case you can make for Alabama is the fact that they beat the number 1 team and they're a conference champion. That's kind of the only case that you can make really for Alabama getting in there. But again, if you weigh beating the number 1 team, becoming a conference champion versus an undefeated team from a Power 5 conference and the conference champions, you should put the undefeated team in over the 1-loss team. But that's all I got to say about that. So now let's get to C. White. Get to Charleston White. Let's hear what he was talking about, and let's dive into that viral clip, that viral moment he had with Cam Newton.
Okay, let's just put it like this, and let's come up with a rule. Don't say what you won't say in that.
He got you. I'm sleep like this here.
So this is what I'm telling you.
I wake up, nigga, and grab the closest thing I could as a weapon till I can come to, and it ended. So this is what I'm saying. Dion coach football. I address killers. I say fuck King Von, Nipsey, Rolling 60s, and if you kill in my community, I'm gonna say you did it, nigga. You don't get to ride around here and holler no snitching. Who did that killing? I'm the nigga come out and say they shot that baby. And you bitch ass nigga better turn y'all self in, nigga, and we ready to go to war with that. See, Dion don't do that.
Who is, when you say we, who is?
Me. And I got some niggas go to war.
Okay.
Now I got some niggas go to war, homie.
See, this is the thing, Charleston. Like, I think everything that you're saying has some truth to it. It's just the delivery. You standing, there's no denying that you're standing for and by your people.
Well, here's the thing. When you addressing evil, you can't worry about the delivery. When you looking at the conditions of our community, you can't worry about the evil when you got kids that kill kids and say we smoking on Tuka. See, they wasn't worried about the delivery when these kids in Chicago were talking about smoking on Tuka. Mm-hmm. They wasn't worried about the delivery. I ain't got no manners for no slut. I'm gonna put my thumb in her butt. The delivery? I like girls kissing girls where I'm from, and that's on the radio. Girls on girls, that's promoting lesbianism to my daughter as we driving to school. This song they playing with Drake. Y'all worried about the delivery? These niggas talking about killing each other. They really, that nigga Thug said, nigga, I shot at your mama. You don't mention me no more. He really shot that nigga mama. And y'all worried about my delivery? These niggas are confessing to murders on songs. And y'all worried about my delivery? The conditions of black sucking them talking about booty hole. Y'all worried about my delivery? Come on, don't be hypocrites, black people. Y'all can't listen to this music if y'all so caught up in my delivery. Don't do me like that. And the way y'all snap and pop y'all pussy to this music, the way y'all kill and drill to this music, don't trip about my delivery. Hey, yo, Easy, why you wear your pants like that? I wear my pants like that because that's easy access, baby. Easy, why you talk like that? I talk like that to get my point across. Because when I wasn't talking like that, wearing a bow tie, y'all wasn't paying me no attention, and I was going to the Supreme Court changing laws and legislations in this country. I was working with over 50 U.S. congressional members, from Ted Cruz to Mark Rubio, Senator John Cornyn. I was on the front page of the American Bar Association Journal. I had done a study with News 21, Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. Y'all wasn't paying attention then. So, nigga, I gave y'all what y'all want. A ignorant motherfucking nigga that talk like them rappers. Now y'all listening. Now y'all paying attention, huh? I got y'all attention, checkmate. Now let me tell y'all what y'all need to hear. We fucked up as a race of people since y'all so caught up into my delivery. 5% of children now are catching HIV from ages 13 to 21. What y'all worried about? 85% of the new chlamydia, all the new cases of teenagers. What y'all so caught up about? Nigga, only 35% of most kids in inner cities can read on or above their grade level. What the fuck are y'all talking about and these kids can't read? Come on, my nigga. So if we gonna be real, let's be real. I'm not bashing the black woman in her BBLs. I'm not bashing the black woman because she wearing eyelashes. I'm not fucking with the sister because she got too many baby daddies. I'm addressing men, boys and men from...
All right, family. So you heard it right there, what Brother Charleston White had to say. And as we mentioned earlier in the show, that the brother is right. You know, he talked about propaganda. He talked about the agenda that's being pushed on our sisters, right? Lesbianism. He talked about the violence that's in the music. You know, he talked about the death, the gun violence that has taken so many lives, not only in Chicago in the city, but Baltimore in the city, DC in the city, New York in the city, Florida in the city, Ohio in the city. Any inner city across America has felt the effects of gun violence. So what he's saying is absolutely right, absolutely correct. There is a problem in our community. You know, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did a lecture called Justifiable Homicide, where he rolled out what we've been doing. And he laid all of those things out as well. he mentioned the fact that, we are doing a great disservice to ourselves by acting the way that we act. But to Charleston White's point, he listed a lot of symptoms. The gun violence in the community, symptom. The violence in the hip hop community, orchestrated, symptom. The propaganda and the way that we behave, symptom. What Charleston White didn't address is the orchestrator or the one who created the conditions for the sickness to develop. We agree that black people are sick. Our community needs to be healed. He didn't address, though, the disease. He talked about the symptoms, but he did not address the disease. So let's go after the disease. As I've been taught, as a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that our people are victims of over 400 plus years of slavery. We're victims. So the behavior that you see taking place is the behavior of a sick person. So if you got a person who has, a mental illness and they go out and they commit a crime, and it's been confirmed that they have a mental illness, then now the accountability shifts a little bit. Because you can't say that they went out and they knowingly in their right mind committed this crime. You have to look at how their mind functions with the disease controlling that mind. That's what we have to think about now. So when you see black people, you have to think that there's a disease that has altered the way the mind works. So when you see the gun violence, when you see the promiscuous behavior, when you see the different things that Charleston White laid out, understand that the people that are doing those things are sick mentally, mental illness. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in the book Justifiable Homicide, he went over so many different things. It's a lecture that was actually turned into a book. So I'm reading the book, but I've also watched the lecture as well. And I encourage each and every one of you to go out and watch that lecture, pull it up on YouTube. So, but the minister talked about the black community's civil war. And I thought this is very important for us to discuss as we go through some of the things that Charleston White was talking about. So the minister says this. He says, the world is at war. Some of us realize this and some of us don't. The Bible teaches that the people in the days of Noah were partying and having a good time when the end came. And the homosexuals in Sodom and Gomorrah were also having a good time in the end, when the end came. The enemy today has got you in the same mindset of careless living and partying all the time. This is to keep you away from seeing all the wickedness they are involved in, but the end is in sight. So our brother Charleston White was mentioning a lot of the illnesses, a lot of the symptoms that have taken place in our community. We want to address those who have created the disease that ultimately brought about the symptoms and the illness that you see taking place. So we at war. And being at war, we have to now adjust our mindset to that war. And the one who has created the condition for the things that Charleston White mentioned has to be exposed, because we can talk to the sick people all day. See, Charleston White can talk to sick people all day. He can talk about sick people all day. So he mentioned Nipsey, he mentioned King Von, he mentioned other hip hop artists. See, all of them were going through the same disease, going through the same situation, affected by mental illness, socially engineered. So he can talk about them all day. But if we are going to be solution-based, solution-minded, then we have to go after the root, The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that a tree doesn't die unless its root has been exposed to the sun. Say it again. A tree can't die unless its root is exposed to the sun. So if we want the disease of death, violence, destruction to die in the black community, we got to expose the root to the sun. So let's go after that root. All right. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talks about the civil war within the black community. And he said in the 1960s, we knew who the enemy was. Back then, we could turn on the TV at night and we would see people like Birmingham, Alabama, Police Commissioner Eugene Bull Connor, a racist who would order police to spray blacks with fire hoses, attack them with dogs and stick them with cattle prods. This is the time of Dr. Martin Luther King. This is the time when he was leading the Montgomery bus boycott in the late 50s and the early 60s, civil rights movement. We could see the enemy beating our people down. But 2 generations later, if you go in the black community and ask who is the enemy, we would see that we have become the enemy to one another. So this is what Charleston White is talking about, how we now have become the enemy to one another. But the question I want to pose to people that share the views of Charleston White, how did we become our own worst enemy? How do we become our own worst enemy? The minister continues, when you look at the murder rate in the black community, this is a civil war. Look at all the funerals that are happening in the community right now. Mothers, you are taking your son and your daughter to their final resting place because of gang conflict. Something that Charleston White hinted to. That Smoking on Tuka reference. Young boys killing young boys. Tuka was like 14, 15 years old when he was killed, murdered. You talking about young boys. He might have been a little bit younger than that. How can the killing of our black brothers by white policemen warrant more response from black community leaders than our shooting of one another? This is another point that people like Charleston White may feel, because there was a lot of movement, there was a lot of activity when Tamir Rice was killed by white police officers. There was a lot of activity with Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman. There's a lot of activity with Mike Brown. There's a lot of activity with George Floyd. But where's the outrage? Where's the activity? Where's the community involvement and civic engagement when it comes to the community violence that's happening when it's one of us killing one of us? This is an absolute fact. See, we can't get so excited. We can't get so emotionally involved and engaged when it comes to a white police officer killing a black young man, but we don't address the violence that we inflict on one another. That's on us as a community, specifically the men. That's on us though, black man, because we have to be constantly doing that work. We have to be constantly engaging and cultivating the minds of our young brothers to help reduce a lot of the violence. But the minister goes on to say, how can the killing of our black brothers by white policemen warrant more response from black community leaders than our shooting of one another? The enemy is watching the disunity of black leaders who argue and fight each other in the public. I'm going to stop right there, because this is where the rubber meets the road with myself and people like Charleston White and those who want to make public condemnation of others while the enemy is watching. This is why public condemnation. This is why publicly calling out other individuals in the community based on assumption, based on opinion, is wrong and also detrimental to the overall work of what we all trying to do, which is free our people from and change the condition that they in. See, it's detrimental to that work when you calling people out publicly without having concrete evidence. Without having concrete evidence. So the minister said, I'm going to read it again. The enemy is watching the disunity of black leaders who argue and fight each other in the public. The enemy is watching this. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad called him the universal snooper, meaning what? He universally listens. He's listening to everything that you and I are saying about one another. He has probably your phones tapped, especially if you really got some movement out here, you really got some motion, your phone probably tapped. And even if it's not tapped, like personally tapped, we have iPhones, Androids, all of them have navigation devices, the recording devices. You know what Edward Snowden was able to expose about the fact that they're able to hack your email, and nothing that you do is private. If somebody wants to know, the government will know. Big Brother wants to know, he will know. So, universal snooper. So the enemy is watching, and I'm going to add this, and listening to the disunity of black leaders who argue and fight each other. The enemy says, oh, well, what the hell? They're not united, so let's show them that we don't have any fear of what they're doing. In the case of Michael Bell, of the Jenna 6, not too long after being released from jail, the police picked him right back up. Again, on an old charge and sentenced him to 18 months. That is a horrible miscarriage of justice. So as a response, community activists like Father Michael Flager, Harry Belafonte, Reverend Al Sharpton, and others decided to march on the Justice Department because the Justice Department is really failing black people. I sent a message to them stating I will join them in a march on the Justice Department because it has failed. But I also said, look at the statistics. It is not them killing us from the police side of this thing. It is us killing us. See? So Charleston White is right in the vein. He's right in the mindset. He's aligned with what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave in this lecture. Years before Brother Charleston White, was doing what he doing. Gotta put that out there now. The minister was doing this in the early 2000s. Looking for the exact date of this lecture. Looking for okay, here we go. Oh, no, that's not it. Looking for the exact date. Minister dropped this thing off. Justify, blah, 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 blah. Looking for the exact date. I can't find it right now, family. I want to say it was 2009. 2009, I believe the minister did justifiable homicide, but I'll get the exact date on, and I'll put it on the Instagram clip. However, the minister was doing this. But my point is, Charleston White he's right on point. He's right on point with what he's saying about the killing, right? Shout out to everybody tuning in. Shout out to the comment section family. Appreciate you. I need the Facebook family to like and share. Need the Twitter family to retweet. Need the YouTube family to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so that we can build the community up. If you just tuning in, I'm your brother King Cam, and this is Shifting the Culture Podcast. We're discussing Charleston White's viral interview clip on Cam News Podcast. So we peeling back the layers right now. So the minister said it's not the police, it's not them killing us from the police side of this thing. It is us killing us. So I don't mind marching with you to the Justice Department, but let us mobilize our people and let us go into our community and get our young people to stop them from the senseless killing of one another. And then Let us fight to give them jobs and opportunity. The minister goes on to say, see, if we do that, then our marching is not a race thing. It is a justice thing. But if you're not willing to confront the murder and mayhem that's going on in our community, then you're not serious. Perhaps you are looking to get some points by going to the Justice Department, but after the march is over, the Justice Department will say, well, them Negroes ain't together. Let's murder some more. Because we're not serious about white people's murder of blacks if we don't stop murder among ourselves. So amongst the things that Charleston White mentioned that he was doing, he never mentioned that he actually went to confront the murder and the mayhem. He talked about working with people like Mark Rubio and, other people in government to change laws, policy, and legislation when he was, doing his thing on that aspect, and that's beautiful. But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, if you're not willing to confront the murder and the mayhem that's going on in our community, then you are not serious. You're not serious, because that's where it starts. And it's going to take us going to our people, going to our young brothers who are leaders of gangs, going to our brothers in the streets that's selling drugs, that's getting money, the kingpins, that's doing their thing. And it's going to take us going to them and saying, listen, we can't continue to do this no more. We got to lay a line. We got to draw a line in the sand and say, listen, I know you've been doing this for a long time, but it's going to have to stop today. We have too many black people dying. We losing too many of our young brothers, a lot of your soldiers to the streets, too many of them going to the grave or they going to the penitentiary. We have too many mothers who are crying because they're losing their sons, they're losing their daughters. It's too many people catching strays. It's not even no rules, no regulations to what's going on. So now we have to step in between the guns and the violence, and we have to talk about a solution and how we moving forward. Because what we're going to do is make our communities a safe and decent place to live. Now, either you with that or you not. But we're going to make our community a safe and decent place to live. That's the goal. Now, you got to pick what side of the fence you're going to be on. Those are the type of conversations that we as men have to have with those in the street. We have to educate them on the current war if they don't already know. A lot of them brothers in the street already hip to the fact that a lot of the gang wars and the beefs are not necessarily even being instigated or started by them. Some of them been doing this so long, they've been manipulated by the agents that have infiltrated their organizations that create mischief and mayhem. So they understand that. So some of them already know. But for those who don't know, we have to come in, we have to educate them, but we have to open up that dialogue and have that conversation. Brother Charleston White, you're not going to reach the brothers condemning them. He's not going to reach them condemning them. It's not going to work. Now, as I mentioned, he reeled off a bunch of things that he was doing. None of them was that he went and he talked to the leaders in the streets. None of those was that he went and talked to the gang members. None of it was the work that he was doing in actually boots on the ground. Now, I know some people going to say, hey, Brother Camp, Brother Charleston White, he done did some stuff with the youth and he doing a lot of things boots on the ground. I understand that. I'm not taking away none of that stuff that he's doing. But the minister said, if you're not willing to confront the murder and the mayhem that's going on in your own community, then you're not serious. Let's move forward on what the minister said. He said, perhaps you are looking to get some points by going to the Justice Department. But after the march is over, the Justice Department will say, well, them Negroes ain't together. Let's murder some more. Because we are not serious about white people's murder of blacks if we don't stop murder among ourselves. So we have to stop the murder among ourselves. So the minister posed this question. He said, ask yourself, how many young black men have now died in 1 week, in 1 month in the neighborhoods throughout America? They're concerned with the death toll in Iraq, but there isn't anyone focused on the death toll here. There is a silence civil war going on that is being ignored, that has mothers and grandmothers taking their babies to the cemetery. Brothers and sisters, you are a beautiful people. We just have to work as hard as we can to make the devil's plan unsuccessful. The scripture teaches, if God had not shortened those days for his elect's sake, no soul would be left alive. That is how dark it is going to get. The next type of war is urban conflict. And what they are doing in Baghdad, Iraq right now is what they are going to do in the inner cities of America. Kick in your doors, well armed, looking for weapons you might have. So the minister is letting us know, again, I told you the time frame in which the lecture was taking place. And at that time, we was at war in Iraq. But we bring it up to the modern times and what we have seen, the civil war, or the urban war that has taken place in our community, where when Mike Brown was killed, you seen what they did to the people in Ferguson. You know of some of the activists who were actually killed, who actually went missing. That's urban war. Men and women standing up for what's right, and the police are taking and removing these people off of the planet, unaliving them. Urban conflict. You've seen the mobilization and the militarization of the police departments, where they come in now with armored vehicles. The minister goes into that in this lecture, where they come in with armored personnel carriers, with body gear that's suited and booted and fit for a soldier, into urban communities. This is the urban warfare that the minister is talking about. So what does all that have to do with Brother Charleston White? Well, as I mentioned before, Brother Charleston White was making some points. Brother Charleston White was teaching. However, he wasn't addressing the root problem. And the root cause is those wickedly wise ones who have created the conditions for the civil war that's taking place in our community. So as Charleston White was highlighting, that we are our worst enemies today. And what we have to do, men, is that we have to now go and step between the murder and the mayhem so that we can begin to reduce the violence that's taking place in the community. We can reduce what's happening to our black women, because the sex trafficking rate is high, domestic violence is high, sexual assault is high, sex trafficking is high. Women are going missing at alarming rates. You got to talk about what's happening and why the black woman is not as protected as she should. That's on us, man. That's on us, brothers. That's the work. We can't spend time calling each other out. We can't spend time arguing with one another in the public, because as the minister mentioned, the enemy is already paying attention to that. So when he see us arguing in the public, when he see us arguing on social media, then he already know what he have to say to one of us to get us to sell out on the movement. He already knows what he has to say to one of us to get one of us to say something that is inflammatory in the media about another organization. See, all of that type of stuff is how they was able to break up the civil rights movement, because of all of the agents and all of the ops and all of the snitches and all of the rats that was working for the government in order to take down organizations that had motion. That's what I'm saying. This is what they was putting together. They had agents and rats and ops working for the enemy that would help bring down progressive movements. So we had to be careful with addressing one another in the public, like Charleston White likes to do. So while he was saying some factual things, some truth, it was truth mixed with a lot of controversy and lacking in some areas of guidance. And I want to say this too, because, Charleston White been on the internet and he been saying a lot of things, doing his internet thing. And he has said some real disrespectful things about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And you can't be taken serious by disrespecting one who has a resume and who has a record of working on behalf of black people in America as well as all over the planet Earth. You don't get to say nothing inflammatory about that man. You don't get to do that and think people are going to take you seriously. Because it's not the Charleston White show. It's not the Charleston White program. It's not the Charleston White movement. You got a couple people that's with you. That's about it. And we already know, got a lot of followers, a lot of views and all that kind of stuff. But when it's really time to get active, Charleston even know this. When it's really time to get active, you only got a handful of people you can pick up that phone and call, and that's going to be there for the ride. The rest of these people that's putting the battery in your back, Charleston White, they not going to be there, brother. They not with you like that. We already know that. These people, that's why the Bible styles the people as sheep. That's why they style as sheep. Because everybody not bold, courageous, and ready to stand in the face of death to stand on that business. They're not ready to do that. But you're not going to get no points by coming out dissing somebody who been standing on business, who been standing on freedom, justice, and equality, who been fighting for liberation, who been talking to those same, not talking to the same, talking to those who run the people you was hanging out with, the people you said you was changing policy with and all that. The minister that sat with kings and, rulers and presidents and prime ministers and all that, discussing what's necessary for the black man in America to achieve justice, and then the black man all over the world to achieve justice. This is real. This is real talk. So if you really serious about this type of work, then you can't come off talking all crazy like that about somebody who been doing that. See? So let's address that root cause, because that's important. Like I said, Charleston was talking about the symptoms, but we're going to talk about the root cause, because our people was not a people that acted like this before. We was born in sin and shaped in iniquity. See, these conditions are socially engineered. Matter of fact, the minister went into that social engineer piece. I've mentioned this on previous podcasts as well, right? About the engineering of what we see today. Our brother Demetric Muhammad talked about socially engineered savagery. Socially engineered savagery. So the minister says this: according to statistics in a 2006 report by the Schott Foundation for Public Education, most young black men in the United States don't graduate from high school. Only 35% of black male students graduated from high school in Chicago, and only 26% graduated in New York City. Only a few young black men finish high school, and of those that finish, only a few attend college. On a national scale, only 22% of those few young black men who enter college actually finish. What does that say for you young sisters who are going to college and getting an education, when the black male, who is your natural counterpart, has nothing to do with high school or college? This means he has no job and is being herded into a life of crime or armed forces. In either case, you young sisters have no security in a young black man if this trend continues. Young black male students have the worst grades, the lowest test scores, and the highest dropout rates of all students in the country. With these young black men don't succeed in school, they are much more likely to succeed in the nation's criminal justice system and are more likely to end up in the penitentiary. Aha. See? So where's all this coming from? Because this is not by accident. The minister goes on to say, it was discovered recently that even when a young black male graduates from a U.S. college, there's a good chance that he is from Africa, the Caribbean, or Europe, but not from the United States. This is not an accident. I want you to see that young black men are not involved in shooting and drugging and killing as an accident. These circumstances have been socially engineered. Black men in prison in America have become as American as apple pie. There are more black men in prisons and jails in the United States, about 1.1 million, than there are black men incarcerated in the rest of the world. Now, when we study the 94 crime bill and you go through that timeline from when crack was introduced to our communities, starting with cocaine and then morphing into crack from the early 80s, from 1981 all the way through 1996 and beyond. Crime bill passed in 94. There was a steady increase in the prison population. I don't have the numbers right in front of me right now. I wish I had the prison numbers. But when we got out of slavery, when we were so-called emancipated in 1865, there was a certain prison population. And from that point until now, it has been an increase, but there was a explosion. There was an explosion of the prison population in the early 80s all the way up and through the 90s. Why? Because prisons became they became privatized. Prisons became privatized, which means that private citizens could own prisons and they could make money off of the inmates. There were incentives given to police departments for locking people up. You didn't hear what I said. Bill Clinton and Joe Biden incentivized police departments. They gave money to police departments for more weapons, more equipment, more vehicles, and they incentivized police departments for locking people up. Now you have private citizens who can own privately owned prisons, which incentivize them to create a system of a steady pipeline of individuals that are going to feed their prison. Hold on. See? This is important. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says this. He said that this criminalization process starts in elementary school with black male children as young as 6 to 7 years old being arrested in staggering numbers, according to a 2005 report called Education on Lockdown. For those who are just coming in to Shifting the Culture podcast, I'm your host, Brother King Cam. Shout out to all of my family in the comment section for wherever you checking us out at. Shout out to the family on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram. I'm going to check these clips out later. But we are discussing the viral clip of Charleston White on Cam Newton, highlighting a lot of the ills in our black community, which is absolutely correct. What we dealing with, though, is the root now. We're getting into why our communities have been socially engineered for savagery. We get into that part. Because if we're not going to expose the root of our problems, then why we keep talking about the problems? That's my point. If we're going to keep talking about the symptoms but not address the disease, what's the point? It's just like we keep talking about cancer and treatment for cancer, but we're not going after the root cause of cancer and bringing our people a cure for it so that it can be completely and totally eradicated. This is what we're trying to do, completely and totally eradicate this behavior so that we can make our communities a safe and decent place to live. That's the assignment. Understand the assignment or get up off the post. So the minister says that the criminalization process starts in elementary school with black male children as young as 6 or 7 years old being arrested in staggering numbers according to a 2005 report. But the minister goes on to say that the rest of the world is watching and following the lead of America. The rest of the world is watching this now. Other countries, including England, Canada, Jamaica, Brazil, and South Africa, are adopting American social policies that encourage the incarceration and destruction of young black men. Brothers, you under attack as early as 6 to 7 years old. This is why it's so important that fathers are in the lives of their sons. This is why it's so important that black men, black fathers are in the homes stabilizing the family structure. Because there's a war taking place. So we got to be together on this. We can't afford and waste no time being separated. So the minister said this is leading to a worldwide catastrophe. But still, there's no adequate response from the American community to address these issues. See? Oh, boy. It's a lot, family. Boy, it's a lot. It's a lot. So the minister goes on to say, in a strange and perversive way, the black community has started to wage a kind of war against young black men, and the black community has also been engaged as a part of this destructive process of killing off our beautiful young black men. So what you starting to see now with Charleston White and some of the other prominent voices on the internet is they are now putting themselves in position to go to war with young black men. The rappers that they talking about with all the violent lyrics, young black men. When they talking about the crime in the community, young black men. When they're addressing gangs and gang warfare, young black men. When they talking about drug dealers and drug sellers, young black men. So we are now waging war against young black men. So the minister posed this question: who are the young black women going to marry? Who is going to build and maintain the economies of black communities? Who's going to anchor strong families in the black communities? Who will young black boys emulate as they grow into men? The problem with the streets is that they don't have no examples. So a lot of those young brothers don't have no OGs because the OGs got wiped out with that 94 crime bill. Some of them just coming home now. Some of them never coming home. So who are the boys, the black boys, going to emulate as they grow into men? This is why it's so important that you show all young men Shifting the Culture podcast, because we are striving to be an example of what young black boys can emulate as they grow into men. Positive influence, positive examples, positive young brothers that are doing business, that are creating and developing products, that are impacting the world, that are working on behalf of their community. That's what the youth need to see. That's what young men need to see. Not all of this other stuff. The minister said, where's the outrage in the black community at the destruction of young black men? We got it now, brother minister. We got the outrage. Where are the plans, and the supportive actions to change this? Charleston White, he talking directly to you, black man. Where are the plans and supportive actions to change this? Because it's easy to get on Cam Newton podcast and say what you said. Easy to go on all the platforms you go on and say what you say. It's easy for you to say the things that you say on your platform about F this person, F that person, you gonna snitch on this person. All right, cool. But where's your plans and supportive actions to change the things that you talking about? Because if you don't have no plans and no actions to change it, why you keep talking about it? You now are becoming one of those bloodsuckers of the poor who gonna use black suffering to put money in your pocket, but don't have no plans and no supportive change or supportive actions to change this. And not saying that you don't have it. I'm saying let's hear more about it. Instead of the piling on that we want to do with the rappers, the piling on that we want to do with the young gang members and all that. See? It's real talk. Real talk. See? So, it's a conspiracy brothers and sisters. It's a conspiracy, family. It's a conspiracy that's going on, as I mentioned before, that has socially engineered the conditions that you see taking place in our community today. And if we don't come together and we don't unite and we don't stand on business, then you're not going to see anything change in the way that you want it to change. Now, we do have a God who's correcting all of this behavior. And he's going to do what he's going to do. You can't stop his will. You can't frustrate his will. See? It may be delayed, but you can't stop his will. So, the God is going to do his work. But what's your mission, black man? All of the brothers that's watching this, what's your mission, brother? Your sole mission should be the resurrection of the dead. Sole mission. Sole mission. Yeah. We got other things we got to do. We got to keep all of that stuff on the forefront of our mind. So we got to keep, we got to keep the household together. We got to keep the wifey straight. We got to keep the children straight. Got to keep yourself together. Got to do all of that. But that's what happens when you are God. See, the Bible says that ye are all God's children of the Most High God. The teachings say that the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. As a God, as a being of force and power, all of these things fall under your wheelhouse. So yeah, you got that to do, but that's part of your wheelhouse. That's part of your wheelhouse. That's part of what you have to do. So add resurrection of the dead to your wheelhouse. See, that's the first work. The resurrection of the dead. So we got to get to resurrecting our people because they're not going to resurrect themselves. If they can resurrect themselves, there'd be no need for a Messiah to come. It'd be no need for the Son of Man to come from the east into the west. It would be no need for the Mahdi to come. Wouldn't be no need for any of that if they could resurrect themselves. So somebody has to go and resurrect the dead. So, family, I'm gonna add this last part and then we getting on up out of here because we up on our time now, man. Shout out to everybody that's been tuned in, that's been rocking with us. We appreciate you on Shifting the Culture, man. We got some fire interviews that's coming up. I can't wait. Just gotta confirm them. But once we confirm them, man, it's gonna be great. I'm really trying to get my brother Sire, the collective, to come on and have a Shifting the Culture conversation with us because, man, he's probably one of the dopest black fashion designers that I know of, clothing brands that I know of that's constantly putting out quality clothing, quality sneakers, shoes, boots. Like, he do all that. Like, you can literally cop sneakers from Sire the Collective quality. So I'm trying to get my brother on. I got a couple of other people that we looking to bring on Shifting the Culture as well. Next week, we got a fire sister from the tech space who's going to be coming in, who's going to be talking to us, giving us some game on the tech field and in the tech industry. So if you haven't had the opportunity, as you see it at the bottom of the screen, text STC podcast to 888-294-2793 so that you can become a part of the community. You'll receive direct links when the podcast is live, and we're going to be constantly adding to our community as we move forward. So right now we just in the building stages, but I'm going to say this last part about the attack that has taken place on black people in America. All right. See, because they have launched a war against black people. And the minister says that the U.S. government is killing people by toxic food, water, air, and medicine. Turn on your TV and just stop a moment and count the number of food and pill commercials that you will see. The pharmaceutical companies are marketing death by making medicines to make us sick so as to make more money and make more money out of treating our illnesses before we die. well, they're going to kill you anyway, but they're going to get rich in the process of killing you with your pains. Then the U.S. government creates mass hysteria. Oh my God, the terrorists are coming. We better kill them over there before we have to fight them over here. The terrorists are coming. And you are sitting in your own house terrified because the TV is hurting you like sheep. We are under attack, family. Everything that you consume of negativity that you do not have the ability to filter out and filter through is engineering your mind in one way or another. As the minister said, we're being herded just like sheep. So I humbly submit to you, family, that we cannot be publicly going after one another. We cannot publicly be calling one another out because we not the only ones that's watching on social media. And yeah, some people say, well, you got to call them out, brother. You can't always be, you ain't raised nobody. And please bring me all of the people you resurrected from the dead. Bring me the marches that you led. No. People, everybody got an opinion or an idea how you supposed to tell the truth and how you supposed to handle the people. See, everybody got their own opinion on it. But when you ask to bring the results of how many people they done gathered together, how many people they done galvanized, how many people they impacted and brought, to this specific area, then the conversation get a little different. So no, we need to listen to divine guidance. That's what we should be doing. We should be listening to divine guidance. And divine guidance says that it's a particular way. It's a science that you go and correct human behavior and ultimately transform human life. Because a lot of people love Brother Malcolm X. Well, Brother Malcolm X transformed human life. Dr. Martin Luther King, he was transforming human life. So those powerful brothers, if they was transforming human life, then what should you be doing in 2023 with social media and technology and all the wisdom that you have because you done been to college? Except for the brothers. But we getting there, some brothers that have. Except for there's some brothers that have. So what are you doing in the way of transforming human life with everything that you have at your fingertips, family? So I would say let's shift the culture on the Charleston White commentary on solutions and change for the condition that he highlighted. How are we going to come together locally in our own communities? Because all of us are in different cities, different states. So how are you going to back those in your community that's doing work? And if you don't see nobody in your community that's doing any work, then you be the one to do the work. All right? So that's how we got to do that, family. So, look, man, we're going to get ready to get on up out of here. I want to go ahead and, we got to drop the commercial before we go. And then from here, we're going to get on up out of here. All right, family. So, for all my people that are interested in getting into the tech industry, we talk about that on the podcast as well. Like I said, we got a guest that's coming up who's going to be talking to us about the tech industry. If you're looking to switch careers, you're looking to transition out of what you've been doing, you're looking to get into trying to break into the tech industry and trying to find a way, this is what I got for you, family. All right? Greetings. You may have seen my video on YouTube where I talk about my tech journey and how I was able to take $100 and turn it into $85K. The way I was able to do that was jumping into the tech industry, breaking through that door and getting in on an entry level through a tech boot camp by the name of Course Careers. Number one, the reason why I took Course Careers was because of the price. Course Careers is extremely affordable. It is only $500. And if you utilize my discount code, it can take $50 off and it actually be $450. But even better, they have a payment plan for those of us who wasn't able to pay $450 up front, because I couldn't even pay $450 up front. That's how bad your brother was. So I wasn't able to pay $450 up front, but they have a payment plan option that allows you to put $100 down and you're able to get access to the course. The number 2 reason why I got into Course Careers was because of all of the testimonials. The 3rd reason why I took Course Careers was because of the free introductory course. Troy did an excellent, phenomenal job in the free introductory course that gave you an outline of what you will be learning in Course Careers, and also went through his own personal story, his own personal struggles, and how tech sales changed his life and why it will be able to change your life as well. So if you're interested in taking Course Careers, I'm going to put my discount code up and available so you can get $50 off. If you click the link below, you're going to be able to start your Course Careers journey, get $50 off, and then what I want you to do is refer a friend, because once this changes your life, why would you keep it to yourself? You need to let somebody else know. So again, click the link in the bio, click the link below, and when you click the link below, I thought it was on Instagram. When you click the link below, then you'll be able to start your tech journey, get to this tech bag, and don't forget the discount code that's going to take $50 off. Don't hesitate, family. Don't waste no more time. Get into Course Careers right now. Click the link below. Let's get started. And then feel free to reach out to me. I want to help as many people as possible, especially people in my community. So click the link below again. Let's get started. Get the $50 off. Let's get to the bag. Hey, you heard it right there, family. Let's get to the bag. If you're looking to get into the tech industry, let's get started today. Get you in that boot camp so you can go ahead and make that transition so you can get to that bag. All right. So with that being said, family, we're going to go ahead and get on up out of here. Certainly appreciate you all for checking in. We'll be back same time next Tuesday for another powerful episode of Shifting the Culture Podcast. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like